KOLN Lincoln and KGIN Grand Island. This is 1011 News at 6.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. New developments today in the death of John Welch.
Welch is the Lincoln man who died from injuries suffered while in a holding cell at the Lincoln-Lancaster County Jail. County Attorney Gary Lacey today met with family members of John Welch and then the media. 1011's Terry Tiber was there and tells us about the autopsy results and what they mean in terms of charges.
After an hour-long meeting today, John Welch's family filed out of County Attorney Gary Lacey's office.
We did get an answer to the autopsy, and that's a relief to me because I suspected John, his death was due to injuries.
At an afternoon news conference, Lacey explained the cause of death was 2 blows to the head.
With respect to the first blow, that was the result of a fracture in which the head hit an object. And that is consistent with a fall or being shoved and fall.
It will take 2 weeks to determine what caused the second blow. If it was accidental, prosecution could be difficult because doctors cannot say whether the first fall alone could have killed him. As to whether jail staff acted appropriately, no one in the cell mentioned that Welch had threatened to start a fight or that 24-year-old Jose Feliciano shoved Welch, causing the fall. So why move Welch to another cell? Because Lacey says his cellmates complained he was acting goofy.
Jail personnel asked Mr. Welch if they noticed that he appeared tired or sleepy, and they asked him if he was okay and if he needed anything, and Mr. Welch responded that he didn't, that he wanted to go to sleep, and he was given a blanket and taken to the other cell.
There's still a lot of unanswered questions, and I'm not sure that we'll ever get to know him, really. But we're going to not let this rest.
But we are happy that,
That probably wouldn't be good.
I guess it's kind of premature. We need to wait and see what the grand jury, says. And of course, we're praying for an indictment.
One thing family members are clearly still upset about is the fact that Jose Feliciano could bond out for $1,000 based on charges unrelated to this case, Deb.
Terry, didn't Lacey say earlier that he would file manslaughter charges if Welch died?
Yes, he did, but now he says he may have misspoke. Now he wants to wait to find out what caused that second blow and what the grand jury will find.
Any idea when the grand jury will be called?
Well, Gary Lacey says he expects the final autopsy results in 2 weeks, and he expects to convene the grand jury in 3 weeks.
Thank you, Terry.
Lawmakers face a number of constitutional amendments in the legislature. One amendment would give the governor the sole power to grant pardons in capital offense cases. An appeal in the case of Harold Otte brings the issue to the forefront. Some say there was a conflict of interest because the Attorney General was able to vote in the pardons hearing. The governor, the Secretary of State, and the Attorney General would work as a board on all other cases. At least one board member says this is wrong.
Why would you keep the Board of Pardons intact for lesser cases, but have that power rest in one person for life and death cases? That is exactly backwards, and I think makes sense to me as a person.
Supporters of the amendment say the measure would reduce the number of future appeals. Governor Nelson did not testify personally at today's hearing.
A Beatrice police officer is injured and a 16-year-old boy arrested following an incident involving a tire iron. It all happened last night when 28-year-old Officer Mike Oliver found the young man allegedly vandalizing the Metropolitan Federal Bank. The 16-year-old then began attacking Oliver. The officer suffered cuts, tendon damage, and chipped teeth. Officials say they're both fortunate.
It's very close to a deadly force type of situation, and certainly his ability to handle it without having to use deadly force in the big pictures obviously saved this young fellow's life, as well as being able to do it with minimal injuries.
Officer Oliver will be on medical leave for a week. The 16-year-old boy has been booked on felony criminal mischief and assault on a police officer. This week, 2 Nemaha County Sheriff's deputies filed suit in federal court, claiming they were forced to be on call without pay. In the following report, Amy Hybels takes a look at how other small communities tackle the challenge of protecting citizens 24 hours a day on a shoestring budget.
Being on call, a lot of times they can't go anywhere or do anything, where I know what my days off are, and I can go do what I want to do on my days off and not have to worry about being called in.
After 6 years on the job, Deputy Phil Dittbrenner says he likes having his days off and knowing when he has to report to work. Federal regulations require sheriff departments with 5 or more employees to pay staff hourly.
If I call someone in to work on their day off or on their time off, whatever, then I have to pay them overtime for that time that they come in.
The issue of overtime doesn't become real critical until a big case breaks, forcing the sheriff's department to go to the county to ask for more money. They can also ask for outside help on the case from other agencies.
This day and age, the money's not there for one agency to just go out and try to do everything by themselves, in my opinion, because there's so many other resources out there, and there's good information, and everybody has a different aspect, different view and different resources that you can use, and why not use them?
Despite cooperation from other agencies, officials say the bottom line is more manpower requires more dollars.
The public is demanding the service that they get from law enforcement and with all county and state entities. They have to understand that if they want this service and we're going to provide this service, then it's going to cost.
DeWitt says the current 4% lid the county's under makes it unlikely its budget will allow for more spending anytime soon. Amy Heibels, 1011 News.
Nebraska's hearing impaired asked to be heard. A new bill would make alcohol, drug, and mental health agencies and services accessible to them. The bill asked for a coordinator to work with existing facilities. A public hearing gave concerned Nebraskans an opportunity to discuss the need for the bill. Some think it's been a long time coming.
When these people go into hospital programs, there are no interpreters, and so basically they're denied services, and the deaf person, the hard of hearing person, becomes worse.
The bill asks for $62,000 to fund the request. We'll have more on this story tonight at 10.
Our hopes for another day of sunshine could lie in the hands of Ken Shimmy. His forecast is coming up.
Hopes that a smoke detector could save your life is behind a new campaign in Grand Island. 1011 News continues in just a moment.
Information, call Lincoln's premier family health and fitness complex today at 423-2511.
More than 20 Hastings residents are still living in temporary housing today after being forced out of their apartment complex. On Monday, the Bel Air apartments were condemned after fire officials found a collapsed wall in the basement. Building inspectors and the city engineer examined the structure and determined it was unsafe. Residents had only a few hours to collect belongings. The owner of the condemned building has 90 days to make repairs.
It fits in the palm of your hand, yet it can save the lives of an entire family. It's a smoke detector, and the Grand Island Firefighters Union has started a campaign to put one in every home in that community. Paige Kelton joins us from our Grand Island Bureau. Paige, tell us about this campaign and what makes it different from past efforts.
Mel, as we know, the message about smoke detectors and fire safety is a nationwide effort. What Grand Island officials are doing is enlisting the public's help and offering their own time to make sure all residents have smoke alarms. Just last November, a woman and her daughter were killed when a faulty refrigerator compressor sparked a blaze. Firefighters say a smoke detector could have saved their lives.
I'd like for everybody to have a smoke detector in the home, at least one, preferably one in each bedroom and one outside the sleeping area and one on each level of the house. So a 3-bedroom home could have, with a basement, could have 5 detectors in it.
But fire safety is not just about having a smoke detector. It's about making sure that detector is working properly. Fire officials say anyone who is having difficulty installing one can call the fire department and someone will come out to their home and inspect the alarm or change the batteries. The public is being asked to donate a smoke detector so families who may not be able to afford one won't have to go without. Mel?
Paige, where can people make their donations?
They can either drop it off at their local fire hall or come to the Conestoga Mall this weekend and drop it off at the collection center, there. They'll even earn Mel a $1 mall gift certificate for their contribution.
Sounds like a great project. Thank you, Paige.
As a general rule, much of Nebraska enjoyed 40-degree temperatures today as we head further into the winter of 95.
One almost dares to dream of an early spring. Could it actually happen? Ken and his forecast are coming up next.
100 years ago, Dave Lennox created his first furnace in Marshalltown, Iowa. And across generations, Lennox quality and craftsmanship have kept up with the demands of your family with reliable, energy-efficient heating and cooling products. Even today, Dave's dedication to excellence lives on through our Lennox quality dealer standards. Standards followed by your local independent Lennox dealer.
Celebrating 100 years of comfort from Iowa to the world.
Attaboy, Dave.
It's time to buy, Lincoln. Shiver! 60 new 95 full-size extended cab pickups in stock and in transit. 2-wheel, 4-wheel, half-tons, heavy-duty 3/4s, 350s and 454s, buckets, leathers, Z71s, and all with automatic transmissions. All red tag clearance price for instant delivery, but only at Shiver, 111th and West Dodge Road.
Once again, it's the best new truck on the road, the 1995 Chevy CK. The most dependable, the longest lasting. So what's new for 95? Take a look at that interior. Restyled seats, all new instrument panel, and of course, a driver's airbag standard. And the best news? Fresh shipments are rolling in now with option package savings up to $1,500. Is this a great truck or what? Get yours today at your nearest Chevy team dealer. We've got a Chevy for you.
Dear Dave, I know you like cars, so I enclosed a picture of mine.
Wow, that's cool.
It's a tricked out El Camino with a punched out 454 Rat. I guess you know how much car stuff costs. That's probably why you have a Wendy's 99-cent super value menu. I can get a junior bacon cheeseburger hot off the grill, a ton of biggie fries, and a biggie drink. Besides being just 99 cents each, it's a satisfying meal. Dave, call me. We'll go for a ride.
You ought to get one like that.
Wendy's super value menu. Better food makes it a better value.
Well, my friends, not only was today the nicest day of the past 4 or 5, it was also the nicest day of the next 4 or 5. So with that in mind, I hope you had a chance to enjoy it. It was a very pleasant January day for most of Nebraska and northern Kansas. Temperatures, even at this hour, are still in the 30s and lower 40s. We've got 42 degrees reported at McCook, 41 in Goodland, one of the cooler locations right here in the capital city. At the top of the hour, we're at 33 degrees in Lincoln with clear skies. The barometer is rising. The relative humidity reading is 78%, and we have calm winds. Our high and low today, we hit 44. That's about 12 degrees above normal for this time of year in Lincoln, after a low this morning of 17. And in Grand Island, we did it 1 degree better. We topped out at 45 after a low this morning of 19 in the third city. Check out your 24-hour satellite loop. There has been some big news and a big storm across portions of the country, but it did not affect Nebraska and northern Kansas. Look at the swirl, look at the clouds, look at the moisture associated with a huge winter storm system just off to our east. More on that in just a little bit. Plenty of moisture continues to feed into that system. We had basically partly to mostly sunny skies over much of 10-11 country today. Be a little bit different tomorrow, more on that in a second. And mainly dry conditions over the west today, but the next weather system is beginning to move onshore. Here's a look at the current surface analysis, show you what's going on at the surface. Nice day for us today. A little bit cooler tomorrow as a frontal system will probably drop into our area. They were dealing with snow business just off to our east. Heavy rains ahead of this system and very heavy snows back behind this weather system. Just how heavy? Well, not that far, dangerously close to Nebraska and northern Kansas, but this one missed us, and it was big snow and big snow business. Anywhere from 6 to 14 inches of snow across portions of the Midwest, from Missouri back into extreme eastern sections of Iowa, into southern Wisconsin and western sections of Illinois, and that area surrounded by another swath of snow, anywhere from 3 to 6 inches there. The snow capital of the country, Springfield, Missouri, 14 inches of new snow in the past 24 hours. Columbia not far behind, 13 inches of snow in Moline, Illinois, checking in with 10. That snow will head east tomorrow as the area of low pressure heads east as well, but significant snows will be falling from the Great Lakes back into the Ohio River Valley. There'll be some heavy rains over portions of the northeast. We will get cooler tomorrow as well as variably cloudy. We will see some sunshine, I think, in many locations, but not near as much as we saw today. There'll be flurries off to our north, a little bit of a disturbance over the Four Corners region, no big deal. Here comes the next weather system. This one may try to bring some portions of our viewing area a chance for a little light snow as we move into Saturday. Right now, that's a little bit up in the air, and it looks like most of us are just going to get cold and kind of cloudy right on through the weekend. Your forecast for tonight, partly cloudy skies, overnight lows holding in the teens to lower 20s over much of the area.
places in northwestern Nebraska with heavy snow still on the ground will certainly drop into the single digits. 19 should do it in Lincoln, 19 in Grand Island. On Friday, a little bit cooler than today. We'll have that north wind at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Temperatures ranging from the upper 20s and across the extreme northeastern part of the state to the lower to mid 30s for most of us. Some folks in southern Nebraska and northern Kansas could make it into the lower 40s, but quite a bit different than today. 37 in Lincoln, 35 in Grand Island. And on Saturday, there could be some light snow developing late in the day over the far western sections of Nebraska. Otherwise, just a few flurries around with mainly cloudy conditions and cold. Temperatures holding in the upper teens to 20s. Here's a look at your outlook. Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Get used to the cold. It's back. I guess we'll put spring on the back burner for a while as we head into the first part of next week with temperatures close to normal, a little chillier in the 20s.
Thank you, Ken. Coming up in sports, the other national champion begins defending its title. We'll tell you who.
And how to win by the skin of your teeth. The Huskers show us how it's done. Vince has the details and all the day's sports next.
Catch the latest update of high school basketball scores. Watch the Lincoln Telephone Sports Roundup Friday night at 11, only on 1011.
Kids have a very special relationship with Dodge Caravan. You see, they are the #1 passengers in America's #1 selling minivan, which is why Caravan has always pioneered the kind of features that help ensure that every child gets from here to there as safely as possible. And now with $500 cash back on select Caravans, we're going to make Dodge Caravan America's #1 kids ride at your house.
Hey, think I'll take a dip in the pool.
That's no pool, that's a famous Whirlpool washer.
That looks like a pool to me.
That's because Whirlpool's large capacity washers and dryers are very big and very clearance priced at Schaefer's.
Oh, then I'll dive right in.
Come to Schaefer's Famous Names Clearance on Whirlpool. You'll save on famous washers, dryers, refrigerators, and dishwashers. It's Schaefer's biggest clearance on Whirlpool, or I'm not Ron Romero.
Hey, Mr. Romero, isn't this for famous names only?
48th and R, Lincoln.
Mom said everybody in our family should drink Culligan water, so I give Culligan water to Bob the fish, and Loudmouth, and Uncle Lisbeth, and Max. If I had a pony named Blackie, I'd give him Culligan water too.
Shouldn't you have a Culligan drinking water system? Trust the water experts. Call your Culligan man.
Hey, Culligan man!
For a limited time, get $100 off Mark Series conditioners and Aqua Clear drinking water systems. Call your Culligan dealer today.
Well, Vince, the Huskers escaped from Kansas City last night with a victory, but barely.
Just barely, and they really should have won it a lot better than what they did, Deb. Coach Danny Nee said himself his team plays best when they're on the edge. Evident last night when they were on the verge of losing a game they should have won blindfolded. They were down most of the first half, then scrapped together a few second-half runs, and a key defensive stand late in the game and escaped KC with a 63-60 win. Nee agreed his team was lucky to win the game where most everyone was in foul trouble. Eric Strickland, the man of the night, with 16 points. The effort will have to be better Monday night, and not only on the road again, but at #7 Kansas. On the women's front, Huskers forward Tina McLean's knee injury is not as bad as we thought. The medial collateral ligament in her left knee is strained, not torn. She says she may only be out, well, just about a week.
I'm not really concerned about the injury right now. It's just the timing of the injury. I mean, we're in the middle of the Big 8 season, and I'll be out for a week, possibly, you know, a little longer. It depends on how well I heal.
The team minus McLean hosts Missouri tomorrow night, a preview tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Briefly this evening, Cambridge's Ed Thompson signs with, or actually verbally commits to the University of Nebraska at Omaha. The NFL players named Dan Marino and Barry Sanders as their Players of the Year, and Andre Agassi won his first match at the Australian Open today. Coming up this weekend, wrestling duels at the Coliseum here at NU. #1 Iowa, #2 Oklahoma State, Arizona State amongst the teams joining Nebraska at the duels, both Saturday and Sunday. Small colleges and prep basketball abound Saturday night, and Sunday, the Jawbones versus Sawbones, the 3rd annual game in Grand Island. This is the Lawyers against the Doctors. The Doctors beat up the Lawyers. I guess they'll fix them for free. If the Lawyers lose, they'll probably sue. The Nebraska football program is still basking in the glow of its national title, but it's time for the other NU championship team to defend its crown. And here's 10-11's Steve Van Hoosen.
Nebraska won its 8th NCAA gymnastics title last year on the strength of 4 senior All-Americans.
But the celebration hasn't lasted long for those coming back.
It's going to be another challenge. I mean, I love a challenge. So this year with the young team, I think it's going to be a great challenge for us to go to the NCAAs and win it again.
Richard Grace is one of only 2 seniors leading this year's team. It includes 6 newcomers.
Well, I keep trying to tell the freshmen what it was like to win a national championship and telling them, you know, one day they're going to experience that. And hopefully this year they'll experience it. And I keep telling them what the feeling was being #1, walking out and receiving the trophy. And it's kind of hard to explain the feeling because it's not really something you can say in words, you know. It's really tough, but that's what I keep referring back to last year's NCAAs winning and trying to let these guys feel what I felt.
Nebraska stands ready to make another run at the national championship. This year they're going to go about it a little differently. They'll rely on youth to take them to the top.
This team, I really feel like it's got some upperclassmen on. I mean, you know, we've got 3 great all-arounders. We've got Ted Harris coming back from last year. And Bill Mulholland's not a freshman by any means. You know, he's 23 years old. He's been around a lot. So I don't call him a freshman. So that's why I think that those people are going to be the nucleus of our team. We add all these other guys, and we're going to be just fine.
We've got a different team. It's definitely a younger team. Not to say that this team is any more talented or less talented. I think that we're just a different team this year, and we definitely have a shot. I mean, I have no doubt that we are a definite contender for the NCAA championship this year.
The road to a 2nd straight title starts for Nebraska this weekend at the Rocky Mountain Open in Colorado Springs. Steve Van Hoosen, 1011 Sports.
And they start defending the title very soon.
We wish them luck.
That's it.
We'll be right back.
Yeah, they all look innocent enough until they start ganging up on you. Then you'll be glad you invested in the security of Jeep Grand Cherokee with full-time 4-wheel drive, 190 horsepower engine, 4-wheel anti-lock brakes, and a driver's airbag. Because when you're outnumbered millions to 1, you need all the help you can get. Now get great values on Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo.
See your local Jeep and Eagle dealer.
A new discovery, a new technology, a new one-pass corn herbicide. Guardsman eliminates grasses. Guardsman eliminates broadleaf weeds. Guardsman, more active, more effective, more consistent than Bullet or Bicep or Extrazine. See the difference a whole new molecule can make. Try Guardsman, the leader in premix performance.
Let your wedding fantasy become a reality. Win 1011's Wedding of Your Dreams. KOLN, KGIN TV, and participating sponsors will give one lucky couple a deluxe wedding package, including $300 toward wedding bands from Borsheim's, America's largest independent jewelry store. If you're planning a wedding on or before December 31st, 1996, and are at least 18 years of age, register to win a grand prize package that includes store credit toward bridesmaid dresses from Chantilly Bridal of Kearney, an evening of disc jockey entertainment from Complete Music of Lincoln, catering by It's the Pits of Lincoln, and much more. Each contest sponsor will also give away one smaller prize to a runner-up winner. Be sure to register at any sponsor location by February 9th, then watch 1011 on Valentine's Day. The winner will be announced during the 10 p.m. evening news. No purchases are necessary. See participating sponsor locations for a complete list of contest rules. 1011's Wedding of Your Dreams. It could be yours.
Today marks the anniversary of the Supreme Court decision making abortion legal. Tonight in Lincoln, pro-choice groups hold a rally in honor of that right. We'll take you there at 10. Mental health services for the hearing impaired will tell you how a bill before the legislature's Health and Human Services Committee would help provide for those who can't hear. Join us for these stories and more on 1011 News at 10.
When you go see the movie Star Trek Generations, be sure to check the credits for a Nebraska native. Her face may not be familiar, but her name is attached to some big projects in Hollywood. And if you're a UNL theater student, you may have her as a teacher soon. UNL's Mary Jane Bruce has tonight's State of the Arts report.
At the project to do was our director's room?
Yes, we started last May.
Sandy Veneziano wanders through the set of a recently produced play, offering advice and opinions to the student designer. She started on the ground floor herself, moving to Los Angeles after finishing graduate work at UNL. Today, Veneziano is at the top, a life of limos and luxury, right?
It's not true. It is getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, getting home at 9 o'clock at night. There's fun and exciting to see your design come to life, but it is a lot of work. That's a new Star Trek. It'll be out in a month or so.
Solid training, energy, and perseverance took Veneziano from her first job as set designer for the TV show Dallas to designer for films like Dead Poets Society and Home Alone 2.
And I also have a rendering of it.
Veneziano will share her expertise with UNL students starting next summer when she teaches a design class and acts as producing artistic director of the Nebraska Repertory Theater. She'll continue her own career based out of Lincoln.
Through continuing my career that way, I can help the students open doors and help teach the process as it goes along and the changes in the movie industry.
There have been changes. Veneziano says the industry is not as friendly as it used to be, and there's more pressure to keep budgets in line. But she said success is possible.
Because of the university, again, the quality in which they taught, that you can do anything if you want to. If you work hard enough, you can be and do anything you want. It's really what got me in the door. I didn't give up. This is the Cleon ship.
Veneziano will help others reach for the stars. Reporting for the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm Mary Jane Bruce.
Some fortunate students that will have her as a teacher.
Another Nebraska native makes good.
And speaking of fortunate, we have been very fortunate so far this winter, at least for the past week, and I hope you had a chance to enjoy today because beginning with tomorrow, things start to turn a little bit cooler. Here's what you can expect, however. Between now and 10 o'clock, pretty nice out there, clear to partly cloudy, a bit on the cool side, but most temperatures holding in the 20s, some folks in the low 30s by 10, so a very pleasant evening ahead.
Thank you, Ken.
Okay, that Jawbones versus Sawbones game Sunday out in Grand Island is a charity game. All proceeds do go to charity. It's a great thing. It's the 3rd annual game if you're in Grand Island out west. Please go see them. It's for a good cause.
Check it out.
For 10/11 News, have a good
Thanks for
evening.
joining us. We'll see you back here at 10.
The 22nd Annual Tri-City Street Rods Auto Exhibition with classic cars like this 1932 Cabriolet Street Rod and 29 Plymouth Coupe. This Saturday and